FM.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Wardrobe provided by Bahari Bahamas. Visit shopbahari.com. And good morning, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a tremendous pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. And so last week when we did part one of the show, we promised you that we would do part two and maybe 3 and 4, depending on how quickly we can get through the information. And that's because during the show last week, we only got to touch on one aspect of this topic, and this is clearly a topic that needs in-depth examination. And so, as promised, here today will be part 2 of the show on alternative solutions, thinking outside the budget box. That's our topic on the show today. And my guests are C. Alan Johnson, critical thinker. Welcome, C. Alan, back to the show. And I don't know how this is going to look on this. Right in the center. And Graham Weatherford is also our guest here in the studio. Welcome to you both. Pull that microphone closer to you, Graham. See, Alan, you can hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you so much for having me once again.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. So on the show last week, we got to pretty much only cover the blue economy when we were talking about alternative solutions as to how we can get out of this financial pit that we seem to be in. We all know that what took place to get us here. We had sort of a double hit, first Dorian and then COVID. And, those two catastrophes, in addition to what many believe is inadequate management, have led us. I say that because I see Graham was getting ready to jump, right?
That's what led you. You know what led you here? Financial experts, accountants, right? Economists, all of these high-tech fancy guys. I wouldn't call any names because they were all in government.
Okay. 2
are no longer there who were in the financial sector space.
Right. Now, don't forget, that's your camera right here. This right here. So look into that from
they were already in. I mean, can we call their name because they were a public figure, right?
Well, go ahead, man.
We had Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest. He was in finance.
Okay.
And we had Mr. Shivargo Lang,
right,
that said 51 is the same as 49% and control.
Okay.
I have to say and control because he said, Graham, we had control.
Right.
I said, well, if you have my taxi and I own 51%, you got the keys, control, and 49%, I could tell you bring it any day of the week. And now we're seeing that with the phone company. These financial experts have us $10 billion in debt. And the only thing they could do is set up a Bahamas Economic Recovery Committee. And I'm sure C. Allen, who follows all this stuff, could present their findings to us because no one else can find it. And we're here today trying to come up with a plan that the Bahamas Economic Committee was supposed to come up with. So I don't want to ever hear from an expert again. Definitely not in the financial service. Give me someone who actually has a company and is making some money. Because these experts, they ain't making no money, except for, I don't know, not for us.
See,
That's
Alan,
what really got us here. Because of Dorian and the coronavirus, we should have been able to circumvent that.
see, Alan, even in, let me introduce you all properly. He just jumped straight in. So
Well,
I guess he said, we ain't got a time to waste.
I got some new batteries today, like the Energizer.
Go ahead, see, Alan.
I'm always concerned when people define themselves as experts, because expert can only be an expert of something of the past. But essentially, there's also what people, when they use the word expert, they talk about a certain level. This is why you have even from a degree type environment, you have an expert at AA, BS, MS, and PhD, which basically mean, for BS mean BS, and MS is more of it, and PhD is pile higher and deeper. But what happens is that the problem is that, and I listened to a show today on an economic report for Grand Bahama. The problem is that our expertise has only been limited to the knowledge they have encountered within the cave for which they exist. And so, just use an example, the 8% of the people of the businesses that serve in Grand Bahama of over 4,000 business thought technology is relevant to the 21st century. I'm not kidding you, only 8% believe that technology is relevant to the 21st century, or that technology can serve as a tool for the economic revival and rebuilding of the Grand Bahama and Bahamas economy. Well, you can actually see that when you go across the fact that, I think it was an IADB or whatever, it's an expert study, again, another expert study that showed that 99.5% of businesses in the Bahamas have yet to adopt advanced technology in their businesses. This was during the COVID era evaluation. I want you to figure that 99.5%. So basically what it means is they buy technology off the shelf, Microsoft Office, and the computer come with Windows and a virus software, and they think they have arrived. There's no such thing as cloud computing, backup, real-time data analytics, and anything of that sort. And so what has also happened too is that you have noise in the marketplace for individuals who always seems to be expert on what to do, but very few of them can tell you how to do it. And we see this coming from not just from the advocates, but also from what is called the unions, and that's the Union of Businesses. We often refer to them as the Chambers of Commerces. We have expert special advocacy groups. We have professional groups, everything else. And when you begin to listen to them and put them as a comparative for comparative analysis against what the globe is doing, they're not even in the same room. And essentially what they do is they have conversations on how best to repair the broken system, repair the system they know, to return to a broken system that they think has been working. If you look at what some expert reports has reported, that we've lost about $20 billion in the last 2 decades of economic development from hurricanes alone. And so when you look at multiply that, we say the national debt is $10 billion and everybody in the Bahamas owe 25,000 each. Well, we have lost 50,000 each due to inadequate leadership and poor management of the Bahamas. We have not had leadership, but we have had some inadequate management that we sent into the House of Assembly. And so what management is not necessarily put there to grow any business. You put leadership in a business to grow and expand it. Management is to control and make sure everything goes okay. When you go into a country of leadership, and so when you begin to look at the fact is one of the misnomers that we have is the fact that we need to sell our enterprises. And you have these advisors, the special interest. Their interest is to devoid you of any assets that you have. And they tell you that, government cannot run businesses. How many times we've heard that? So they tell you government can't run BTC, can't run the water company, can't run the airline company, can't run anything. But then the same people advocate for the same government to run a country. Now, how does that work out, that government can't run anything? So what they're simply saying is the individuals you put there. So if you begin to take for a moment and says, if BTC can be run effectively without government interference, if so can the water company, so can BPL, so can Bahamas Air, then the problem is not the company, it is actually the individuals you put in the management position, or the fact that the leadership of the country had no vision for the development of those we call SEOs, government agencies. And so what we've had for the last 4 decades is mismanagement of the Bahamian economy. So when you look at the fact that we have lost $20 billion to effect of hurricanes, do we have a single functioning hurricane shelter in the Bahamas? No. We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on schools. Can any single school anywhere in the Bahamas could be considered a hurricane shelter? No. We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on hospitals. Can any of them be said to be functioning? No. So when you look at the billions of dollars that we have spent and borrowed, and then the billions of dollars we have lost in potential, you could only see that we are nothing but a country of failed leadership for the last 4 decades. And I invite any of the 2 political parties that has governed us for those last 4 decades to send a competent authority to refute this. And don't send people who tell you, well, I think, I believe, I tried. You know, the guy who came last in the race against Hussein Bolt could actually make the same argument that our leadership could. They could say, I tried. Try doesn't count. The world doesn't gauge you on how you try. They gauge you on the level of success. So let's put it where it is. Failed leadership in our country has brought us to where we are.
Boy, y'all starting off the bat.
Well, we're identifying
taking
problems.
No prisoners.
We're identifying problems. And I said years ago that this is a failed state. You can't show me one ministry that's operating to even half capacity. It's not the people in the ministry. It's always the leadership. Because if my business is running poorly, I don't blame the janitor. So our country's running poorly. So who do we blame? Oh, we blame this guy. Well, let's replace him with the guy we just got rid of. Why'd we get rid of him? The biggest problem here is amnesia. That's the biggest problem in this country. And I think it comes from fast food. It has to be. See, Alan, what do you think? It must be amnesia from fast food because we forget in 5 years.
No, it's something called stuck. We have what is called SOS in the Bahamas, stuck on stupid. Because essentially, if you go back and I'm sure after you see the next election, you will see the same faces that we have seen for the last 4 decades trying to correct the mistakes they made when they didn't recognize that they were even mistakes that had been made. The same people, the same talking heads, the same everything. Like, for instance, I have individuals here on Grand Bahama and New Providence who fought against technology, who told me that where do I come off believing technology can solve anything and everything in the Bahamas, and now resident experts on technology and telling businesses what to do, and they're, from the Chamber of Commerce and I'm just telling you about all these various different things. I mean, stuff you can find on Google, but I use an example, right? Anyone can go to a high-end restaurant across the bridge and see this wonderful meal and the way it's presented. And on the way home, they stop to one of the food stores and get all of the ingredients. And they may be an excellent cook. And they'll go and they'll try to duplicate what they saw. And it may even taste good, but it'll not have the execution, the balance of ingredients to basically bring it to the point where you went into the restaurant and paid $150 for a piece of steak or a piece of salmon on the table because of that quality. That's the same thing with development. Anyone could proclaim to be anything, but the problem is that when you put them into the kitchen, they end up being cooks as opposed to chefs. Now, let's use another example of when you talk about the global people, and I remember we made the tech hub announcement and all these grand announcements the government makes. Let me tell you what the world does. The world is a data-centric environment. There is no if, no ands, and but about that. So here's what happens. When they appoint Graham Weatherford as Minister of Energy, the first thing the billion-dollar energy companies do is go and do a deep search on Graham Weatherford. They'll try to find out everything. Google knows him better than he knows himself. They will know every magazine he's read, every one he subscribed to. They'll know his qualifications. They'll know the amount of installations he's done. They would have known everything. And they give you a grade. When they appointed Kwesi Thompson in charge of digitization of the entire Bahamas, and they made this announcement, and they went all over the world, no one wanted to know why they didn't come, because when they went and did a profile, and on a score of 1 to 10, I'd be amazed if Kwesi would score above 1 in that environment. I'm not being facetious, because we're not talking about in knowledge about. They're going to gauge you on competency and understanding based on what they can have. And so the world uses data to analyze, are we sincere and are we capable, the people we put in place, are they capable of executing what is expected? This is the same thing as when you go for those headhunters, because I've worked with a number of them. Headhunters actually do a deep profile and deep search of competent people around the world to fill positions. And so you even have people now working to the government who advises government, who at one time was at these tech hub presentations we have. And if you were to do a deep search on them, they are non-existent. I've had people who said, oh, I do hiring for Google. And you go and you check for them. Google, you don't hire for Google. Google and other places hire experts who do research and find them expert programmers and architects, digital engineers. And so this whole concept that you could take someone who just graduated from 2 years ago and they become an expert of hiring some of the greatest minds for building the architecture, these are billion and trillion dollar companies that you see around the world. Because anyone can say anything once you're politically connected in this town. And family, friends, lovers, finances, foreigners, and supporters is one of the key ingredients to success in the Bahamas. Except now, the world doesn't care what we do inside of this shell, you know. The world is preparing, and it says when someone is preparing and you're not, when they meet you, chances are they will beat you.
I want to read a comment. This one is from Ian. And Ian says, this Johnson person no doubt has some information on what he knows, but I'm still missing the point where this qualifies him for leadership of a country. Technology has a large role to play and will continue to do so, but it will take more than a person being able to articulate their talking points or regimented speeches. This country, in my opinion, needs warriors with enough love and know-how. If you don't love Black people, talk. Response.
Well, let me say to Ian, you should read my resume rather than an opinion. You know, I really don't have much for people like opinions. Opinions are like a-holes. Everybody has one.
Yeah. We on a gospel station.
Right. But I'm simply saying is that I would compare the little experience of 43 years of sitting in IBM before a computer existed, on testing software and Windows before Windows existed, before it had a name, to my total build out all the way through. People in the industry knows me. In the same way you can't name more than one ventricular science expert beyond Dwayne Sands, they in the industry, Dwayne Sands probably can name hundreds of them for you. In the same way in the technology arena, people know me. They know my qualifications, they know my capabilities. My question to you though is, where do you see technology? Post this on right now. Where do you see one functional technology in the last 2 decades? Here's where we are today. We are 28 years into the digital revolution. Just check it. I just said 25 years of the first digital revolution has passed.
No,
we're now
it's
moving
just that your
years
internet is dropping in and out. Your internet is dropping in and out. So
okay, I'm sorry about that.
Kill his video.
That's why I interrupted. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying that we are 25 years into the first digital revolution. I mean, 25 years past the first digital revolution, 3 years into the second digital revolution. We are now into the third technology revolution, the fourth industrial revolution, and the fifth social revolution. But let's go back to the technology. The Bahamas is the most digitally prepared country in the world of 202, better prepared than Singapore, Estonia, the United States, Canada, and all the places that people like to refer to. And I ask you, show me one functioning aspect of technology in this country that my 15-year-old niece can do better. Imagine this. A government has spent hundreds of millions of dollars on technology to make the announcement last week that they can finally take credit cards over the internet. You know, the stuff that people have been doing around the world for 30 years? I want you to imagine this when you talk about export of technology, that the government has made an announcement that finally government ministries has a landing page that you can buy for $5 on Fiverr.com. Okay? So please, if you want to criticize and critique.
What do you know what he was referencing? Because he's breaking up.
Let me say it again.
Go ahead, say it again, because you were breaking up there.
I'm simply saying government has made an announcement. Big news in the Bahamas. After spending over $1 billion on technology, government has announced that they finally can take credit card over the internet, something the world has been doing and petty shops has been doing for 30 years. After $1 billion or more has been spent on technology, my government has finally announced that they could get a landing page up for a government ministry that you can buy on Fiverr.com for $5. I want you to imagine a government having spent billions of dollars so far has finally been able to say, we can send you a PDF document, though it's not fillable, something that can be done for free on Google.com. See, when you want to talk about the expertise, whatever, I have no doubt. And guess what? My predictive in technology have told you when I've made a reward. Remember when the government made the big announcement at the Tech Hub? I made an offer of $100,000 to any charity if the multi-million-dollar company that came to the Bahamas could last 6 months. Guess what? I didn't have to pay a dime because the company died a miserable death 5 months later. The two other companies that they announced that will be capping, I said, I'll bet $10,000 to any charity of a choice if those companies could ever get started. They never got started. I don't doubt my expertise. I don't need authentication of the same. However, I am an advocate for the most digitally prepared country in the world to wake up to its potential, because we have been led by lackluster leadership in a country that is prepared to lead the world in digitization by individuals who Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, and Blind Blake can see better than them when it comes to technology and preparedness for the future. And so if you're content with mediocrity, then I ask you to remain there, get out of the way, because those of us now that COVID has declared that the future isn't coming, that it's here, you either roll with us or be rolled over.
See, Alan, just to confirm, there's always going to be the texters and people that call in the haters, right? And some of them are even paid operatives. But the proof that we're not digitally prepared is there is a fax number in a telephone book. Hear what I'm saying? A telephone book still exists where there is a fax number for every one of these government ministries that can finally accept.
I want you to pause right there.
I don't pause.
Go to a government ministry and you'll see 15 different numbers for a government ministry. This is a country that can't get rollover right. It's 60 years since they had rollover phone calls. But you have one phone number. They said, if you want to reach the Ministry of Finance, call 72447, 47248, 7249, 725. Are you serious? See,
Alan, hold on.
Critique for technology.
That was a really good point of order. A hunting system. You call Microsoft, you dial one number, and it hunts to the 10,000 lines where there's an operator.
Call anyone.
And that was yes, well, not the Bahamas, but we still have a fax machine and a phone book. You know what I want you to do, C. Alan?
There's still a telex numbers listed.
Yeah, that's the killer right there. That's 1960 and 70. You know what? Michelle don't even know.
She's also the number one. The Bahamas is also the number one nation. Do you know we're number one in chicken consumption, bear consumption, and carbon paper use? Carbon paper.
Yes. You're speeding.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Dead serious.
We still write out by hand. But see, Alan, could you prepare a digital preparedness test? And I need this to be given to everyone that is in government whether they're opposition or incumbent.
No,
and we
we
need
don't
to
have a
see
problem with
their
government. Government comes from amongst us. We need to just recognize, forget where we think we are, and begin a rapid digital education system, because the world has shown us when COVID arrived in March, it showed us that we were not prepared for business. In fact, we had government announcing and the chamber announced that we have revolutionized innovation and digital transformation, because you can now call a business, order something, pull up outside, call them to tell them that you're outside, then they'll run outside and bring the receipt to you. Then you'll give them your credit card. They'll go back inside with the credit card, bring back the receipt for you to sign, go back inside the place, and then bring you back the stuff and put it to your trunk of your car as e-commerce. Now, see, this is what I asked Ian Smith. Where even in my ignorance of technology, you would never ever insult me by telling me that that is innovation. Okay, I would never ever do whatever that is. So I don't need to talk. When I speak to advance, I don't expect him or very few people to understand. I'm speaking hopefully that the leadership will begin to recognize that we're not competing against us or our shadows. We are competing against the world. And we can pretend like when my children used to play, they used to play dress up and play house and play driving and play all cowboys and Indians. When you start talking about government, you're talking about economies, you're talking about of competitiveness against 200 plus countries around the world. This is no more time for playing dressing up. In fact, if you begin to look at most of the candidates, what we have is we've been electing brands, brands. We have not been electing leaderships. Because if you were to go by every single candidate and ask them in the...
See, Alan, we have a call on the line. I don't want to lose the caller, so stick on that thought about the brand leadership. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Michelle, it's always a pleasure calling into your show.
Thank you.
I just want to add, especially what Graham has been saying. Good morning to everyone, by the way. Sorry for the manners.
Good morning.
I just wanted to add what Graham was saying earlier about, and I see Alan, when it comes around to the government offices and the many numbers and the fact that we still have a phone book, to the ill-traveled Bahamian, they wouldn't realize what level the rest of the world is on until they've actually visited these places. America, for example, not even the corporate companies. You have automated answering services that have AI capacity. You have a certain code. You're granted clearance to actually do transactions with the company. They don't actually have a human secretary to deal with like the simple procedure. It's so advanced. I'm not advanced really, but we're so far behind until it feels like we're in the Stone Ages over here. And there's so many branches of how far behind we really are. Just about every in the business world, almost everything we think about when it comes around advancement, we haven't reached the halfway point yet. I believe you're talking a few weeks ago about the educational standards that we're at now, and how the government schools, for example, they're using textbooks that are 25 and 30 years old. Whereas some of the information has not changed, it's outdated. We're using composition notebooks the children are using in the classrooms when many other countries the kids have iPads. We don't know how far back in last place we are. And the only way I think we will understand that is if, I believe, more payments travel. It's just really sickening when you think of it. It's really,
a lot of them actually have the ability. Sorry, a lot of them have the ability to travel right in their hands, but except they just stick in WhatsApp group and their Facebook page group. Some of them should understand the power of Google University and YouTube College to expand their mind and see what the world is doing. It's like they are so deep in the cave. Anybody with even a match is considered an enemy because you bring light to the cave. They don't want nothing to disturb their darkness.
Wow.
Yeah, and I believe. Honestly, Seattle, I believe, and I'll leave with this point though. I believe it's intentional. I think I think is a system where, you know, we're intentionally held back, you know, for those who don't know, for those with, you know, mediocre education, whatever the case is, who aren't internet savvy. I don't know what it is, but I can clearly say, honestly, that it seems to be a part of the plan. You know,
Conspiracy.
keep them dumb.
No,
keep them conspiracy. Keep them dumb, and you know, you throw a couple of grains of this and that around election time, around city season, and you know, just to get in there, and that's it. I mean, educated mind. You know, there's no limits. You can't control an educated mind. A person that's financially stable and educated is a dangerous person. They can't be led.
And you see, but guess what? Okay, thank you. But this is what it brings us right back to the branding that I said to you, Michelle, as being elected. They elect brands by putting water in cans. Thank you so much for your contribution. They put water in cans and sell you the can, but because you've never tasted real Coke, you don't know that in the can is nothing but sweetened water. And essentially, this is what these political parties have done. But it isn't the political parties that has it, you know, not even the leadership. Because I believe if the leadership knew, they would actually do. I think what happens is there's a small class of individuals that control the behemoth economy. And we may not believe it or not, but one only have to expand on the behemoth economy and see that we have a $16 billion economy. This is not my figures. This is the IMF figures just released. Even though we keep using the $10 billion figure, the IMF said we did $13.9 billion last year in the formal economy and another $2 billion in the informal economy. But let's look at that $16 billion. That $16 billion, the first $6 billion of that $16 billion is made by less than 2,000 individuals. So we brag about the economy, but less than 2,000 individuals from even a smaller group of family takes the first $6 billion off the top. Then the rest of us, which the informal economy is shared for that $1 billion. The other $9 billion that's left is shared between the 250,000 workers, and it's not even shared evenly because you still have some people at the top. So we'll brag about with this whole $16 billion, 400,000 people means $40,000 per person. Extrapolate from that down to, let's say, 250,000 people, it means $75,000 per person, every working person. But when you look at it, you'll see that the average behemoth, and this is why they will not release NIB reports, is the average behemoth will probably take home less than $20,000 a year. So that means for the average of 200,000 of you, of that 250,000, somebody is also making your $50,000. And when you times that, you'll begin to find out that somebody's walking away with another few $1 billion of your money, but you're bragging about how you're the third richest economy in this Western Hemisphere, but you have no home that you own. And I see people around here say, this is my house. They have a mortgage. That's the bank house. That's the bank car. That's the bank clothes they're even wearing, because technically the only reason they could keep the clothes is the bank don't take back clothes from the credit card they bought it with because they still own it. And so I don't know where we've, in this facade and this fantasy, and tell Bahamians to begin to understand that yes, the Bahamas is the third wealthy country in the region, but the wealth is not equitably distributed among us. We got the largest poverty rate in the world. We got 60 to 70% of workers that for government that meets the poverty line definition, and the unions that represent them don't even know. And so it's like almost as if though we are in this haze, this phase that you can't fix it. Let's use an example, Michelle. Here you have the individuals crying about the gate.
Hold on to the example. It's 11:39. I was supposed to take a break at 11:30. So so hold on to your example. And we're gonna look at that on the other side of the break. But we have to pay bills, y'all. We got sponsors, ads that need to be played. And so let's take this commercial break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to continue the conversation with C. Alan Johnson and Graham Weatherford. We're talking alternative solutions, thinking outside the budget box, part 2. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
The freshest wave of glory to hit the Bahamas. This is the all-new Glory 93.9 FM, where God is glorified and the people of God edified.
Ocean blue is the best in seafood, hey, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. We got fish, conch, lobster, shrimp, everything you want, Ocean Blue got it. Ocean Blue, friendly and clean, best service you ever seen. Ocean Blue is the best in seafood, yeah. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. Ocean Blue Seafood, we are here for you. Ocean Blue Seafood, no one else will do. Ocean Blue Seafood, located on Burnett Road. Contact us at 393-2160.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Alive. Alive. Believe in best. And by Tropical Gyros. Not just good food, it's an experience. And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. My guests today are C. Alan Johnson and Graham Weatherford. We're talking part 2 of the show series we started last week, Alternative Solutions, Thinking Outside the Budget Box. And I had to interrupt C. Alan prior to the break because he was about to go into one of his thoughts, but I want you to hold on to that just a little bit longer because I want to read a couple of the comments from our Facebook viewers. And by the way, the telephone number to call is 828-3543, 828-3543 is the number to call. And our text line is 828-2543, 828-2543. Is the text line. And of course, you can leave a comment on Facebook. And as I'm about to do now, we're going to read a couple of them on the air. Okay. Let's see. Kuji, I hope I pronounced that right, says, the Bahamas is the best Caribbean island in the Western Hemisphere. It's easy to sit on the sideline and complain, get in the game, and then talk. Okay. Another one by Jamalet says, thank you, Ian Smith, warriors with love for our people, courage to face each other, and not afraid to die for country. All right, let's keep going. This one is from Ken Clark. Ken says, the decisions about technology are being made by people who know nothing about technology. They fail to see the consistent electricity. They fail to see that consistent electricity is fundamental. All righty. Christoph says,
Amen
we
to
are
that.
way behind on the global front. I can let y'all respond to some of these right now. And this one from Phil Call says, when these two talking guys are going to stop talking and start doing something, if they start something, a lot of people will join them to make a difference. All right, guys, jump in.
I'd like to weigh in on the energy.
Okay.
I've said it's been almost 20 years since I first touched down on another radio station with Mike Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call the station name.
Please don't.
That many years ago, you know who it was. And I said, listen, unless we have energy security, affordability, which is Freeport's biggest cry, is too expensive.
Right.
Reliability, so it stay on, right? And sustainability, like you know where you getting the fuel from and at what price, and if that fuel is going to be from the sun or from water moving, or is it going to be diesel? Unless you have those things, every other conversation is mute. I can't help you in healthcare services if the light ain't on in the hospital, ain't no surgery. I can't help you at the Ministry of Works. I can't help you at MOT Tourism in a digital platform with Bahamas B&B. Bahamas B&B. We're no longer accepting Airbnb. We're accepting Bahamas B&B. You're going to book it here, Michelle, at MOT. You're going to use your credit card for your or Bitcoin payment. You're going to pay into our Bank of the Bahamas, right? Then you're going to come here and you're going to stay in the Bahamas B&B person's home, so that we kept we're going right back with Airbnb being the cheap. We're giving up the resource, the sun, sand, and sea, but we're just the cheap labor. We're not making the money on the money. When you book when you book a big hotel room or you book a big cruise ship, you know where the money goes? Fort Lauderdale. You understand? You're coming down here. You're staying in my big hotel. You're staying on a big boat. You're making money because of my sun, sand, sea, beach, islands, etc., right? Swimming with the turtle pig and riding with the donkey next, I guess. But hey, we are not benefiting. We're getting a few cheap jobs on the beach, braiding hair and selling coconut like Adrian was crying about.
We ain't selling coconut no more because they now importing the coconuts and branding them and saying, so they cutting out the coconut boys and all.
Well, it'd be so great. I think we should bring in Thailand coconuts and have Philippines sell them, because $1 a day is $52 back in their hometown. And the Commercial Enterprise Bill of 2018 allows for this. You remember that? And yeah, people didn't watch that. In conjunction with the WTO coming this November, I will be able to bring 300 Mexican workers.
So this is just a rehearsal.
Yes, I brought 300 Mexican workers to Abaco to help build Abaco after Dorian. They arrive on a Sunday. Monday morning, you put 300 work permits on the minister's desk of immigration, and they start working. And if you cannot VET them with 14 days, they are automatically granted for 3 years, renewable for 6, 3 more. Oh, wait a minute, that already happened. CEB is in full effect. So when we push you vendors off or whoever, we could get Philippine people to make the beds. So the cheap labor that we thought we had, we don't really have. But disruption and people understanding, like C. Allen says, digital economy, I would have said no more Airbnb in my country. We're going to do your version.
But Graham, let's not confuse the people, right? Airbnb is just the word air. We already have B&Bs. But the Bahamas was the first in the world with the bed and breakfast. We used to call it our people-to-people program. In fact, one of the founders of Airbnb made reference to experiencing that as a youth, as being one of the influences in his decision-making towards B&B, where the opportunity came up for subleasing somebody else's apartment.
But C. Allen,
there's a history.
C. Allen, in all fairness, before people-to-people, right? You can go back to is it the 50s, 40s, where Bimini had people that would come and stay with the people?
It did not. Graham, you're talking about a formal. But Graham, all that was part of see, the people to people was a cultural and heritage aspect, more so a cultural aspect that was exploited, but basically just putting a brand on it. It's something I've studied. So the mere fact that it became a formal introduction as part of our tourism product, and we dropped the ball on that. So we already had the air part of it because Bahamas Air and others were bringing the people here. And so essentially nobody gets into the air part of it. It's just a combination of air because nobody owns airline that owns the B&B. But when we look at the model that we have in the Bahamas, it doesn't work for us. The misnomer that Graham just expressed, the fact that we have tourists come here, tourists don't come to the Bahamas. They stay in all-inclusive hotels. We know them as cruise ships, okay? They get off here to stretch their legs and do whatever else they do here. It just happens to be a stop on the way. 5.5 million of those tourists or so of those 7 million tourists did not come to the Bahamas. They happen to stop here because of the concessions and the tool of having this flag, carrying the Bahamas flag, for the fact that they could take a shortcut through the Bahamas and pay no fees for saving hundreds of millions of dollars in gas during their trip. They can dunk in our water, discharge whatever. If they discharge it in international waters, they will actually end up with millions of dollars worth of fine. But they could just dump it in our Bahamian waters because we have no legislation, we have no means of checking, we have no means of verification. And so,
can I ask a point of order on what you just said? See, Alan, can I ask you a point of order? The home porting we're bragging about, has anyone asked where the garbage or the sewage for 5,000 people for 10 days at sea will be put, as this is their home?
No, see, but you're just bringing home another point, because essentially the home porting is not for our benefit. You know what they say, right? They'll stop to Grand Bahama and pick up some food and some other things. They'll offload their garbage. They already offload their garbage here before they go to the U.S. because they would have to meet environmental concerns.
When you say offload their garbage, what do you mean? I want you to break that down for our audience. What do you mean offload their garbage?
There are some private companies in New Providence and other places that is making millions of dollars a year by taking the garbage from the boat and dumping it in our landfill without any means of protection and no means of verifying what's in it, no mixture of metals and carcinogens and whatever else. You just dump it here. So they get to take it off. Somebody gets to make a few dollars, hauling it to the dump, our dump, and just dropping it there. And those same garbage that they make a few million, they probably pay tens of millions to dispose of it in the US. And so we are nothing more than a dumping ground, a pass-through. We are not even qualified as a good sweetheart in the Bahamian vernacular. We are drive-through. Okay, this more like we like hood rats as far as the tourism industry is concerned.
See, Alan, imagine this. Nassau has 200,000 people living on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the dump there, that's coming from the millions of people that pass through on their cruise ship.
On their cruise.
On their cruise?
Inclusive hotels.
You think 200,000 people made all that rubbish? And guess what? We didn't even have the boss negotiating skills to say, look, you're going to sort this stuff, cardboard, glass, and you know what I mean? Like you do back home.
Right.
And you're going to pay for the plasma incinerator that's going to turn it into ash, that's going to make energy to give us cheap electricity. Mm-hmm. No, it's okay, man.
Just dump.
My company picking up the rubbish, you see? I got a photo of 4 garbage trucks heading right down through the gate to the cruise ship. Isn't that amazing? That's from 5 years ago.
You have the photo. You can see it every time a cruise ship pull. You have to see it every time a cruise ship pull up. So this is where we talk about an alternative model. Here is the government of the Bahamas, and you know it's insulting, right? When the Minister of Tourism said he was ambushed by an investor. Hold on a second now. Let me ask you a question. Who approved an investor building plan in the Bahamas? Isn't it the cabinet, the Bahamas Investment Authority, which happens to be cabinet, I forget what other investment people they call it. It's all cabinet. Isn't the Minister of Works who approved that plan is his cabinet colleague? So is he saying that cabinet don't have an idea that foreigners are building multi-million dollars buildings in the Bahamas and nobody knows about it? Okay, so essentially, our leadership don't even have the sense to recognize that even financial services, fintech in the world has changed. If you were to give me an opportunity, I would find out the value of that property. I would have the government acquire it tomorrow. then I would go and put that property on the blockchain, raise the same hundreds of millions of dollars of capital. But first of all, I'll get a sovereign asset management, not these family, friends, lovers, whatever, the incompetence that we appointed these areas to do these things. And I would then be able to go and pre-sell those hundreds, if not thousands of condos in advance for the $1 million to $2 million in advance. And so if you say you're going to put even 500 condos there, I would raise the $500 million, build a $100 million building, put the $400 million into the treasury, give behemoths ownership because they'll own the buildings and for the jobs. Financing has changed the whole world. When you talk about the 1,000 rooms on Grand Bahama, just times 1,000 rooms by $1,000. That's $1 million a week that we are giving away. When we said we are going to spend $200 million trying to keep the hotel open, we're paying $1 million a month to keep it open, but we're giving up $1 million a week because the leadership don't have the understanding of fractional ownership, where we can just pre-sell 5 years of that and raise the $250 million that would be required to rebuild that whole hotel and infrastructure and own the hundreds of acres of golf courses, own the buildings, own the beach, but it has to be set up in a separate sovereign wealth fund. In the same capacity, and this is something that I'm going to be advocating for, it's the same thing for bed and breakfasts. We own the greatest brand. When you talk about these political parties' brand, there's no brand in the world as powerful as the word Bahamas. The problem is behemoths don't benefit from it. Why is it that we need 20,000 rooms for Grand Bahama and 10,000 rooms for the other family islands, and we're not having a strategy of ownership for those rooms to be owned by behemoths to be funded? Let's use an example. We say we have 3 million acres of crown land. Do you actually believe that somewhere in those crown land that there is 15,000 acres that has a developmental value of $300,000 each, that we can multiply that and in an instant in co-ownership and co-development raise the 15 to 20 to 30 billion dollars that is needed to retire the national debt and build these new infrastructures? Okay, but yet we are out borrowing money. We're giving away billions of dollars worth of properties. We give away over $1 billion worth of properties for Bahama, and we don't even have jobs there because we're being fired and let go because of COVID. And so the question we have is, we have leadership that is afraid of one word, They're afraid of a word called sovereign wealth fund. And I've heard all the experts run around this country talking about it, and none of them has gotten it correct because I think they're making bad copies. A sovereign wealth fund, as repeated by a young lady, 25 years old, she says very simply, and I adopted it as also my own. A sovereign wealth fund is for all seen and unseen, tangible and intangible. What's the other two? Being given to an account, separating it from the illegitimacy and arrogance of ignorance of government for exploitation by a sovereign asset management company for the benefits of behemoths. I just told you how 15,000 acres or even 20,000 acres, and you don't even lose ownership, This is co-development, co-ownership that they will own for a short period of time. And this is no PPP, where people begin to partner with you and they take the profits. If a PPP could take 50, 60, 70% of the profits, why can't a sovereign asset management company, the same management company you buy, come in and do the same thing and take a salary and you keep the profits for yourself? These PPPs is fancy ways of separating behemoths from its wealth potential. And so we need to have conversation to show behemoths that they, right now, due to the same technology shift that has occurred around the world, provides them with the opportunity for ownership. I just went to you for the bed and breakfast, 30,000 units. Today, the government of the Bahamas, with proper leadership, in less than 6 months, could make arrangements for 100% financing for all 30,000 of those units that would be owned by behemoths at zero interest financing, at 100% financing at zero interest. And I challenge Mr. Marlon Johnson or anybody else in the government to actually challenge me and tell me that this can't be done today. Because the Bahamas is a multi-billion-dollar brand that we can exploit right now.
I want to read a couple of comments. This one is from Yvette. Yvette says, I'm not a frequent traveler, but I do go on the web to know that the Bahamas is about 30 years or more behind, and yet the government wants to introduce all sorts of things that this country can't handle, and we wonder why the children are lost in education. Monty Pratt. Hey, Monty. Monty says, C. Allen is correct. When it comes to technology, we are where the Washington Airport Authority was in the mid-90s when I worked there. We trained 2 days on how to use the telephone system. The platforms that we are now using are antiquated. Okay, let's see. I don't know why I see Alan Johnson commenting on the thread, seeing that he on the show.
Just to let him know, educate him.
Okay, Melbourne says, let's see if I can get it to come up. All right, try it again. Melbourne says, good morning to all. Wow, 2 of my favorite persons on. Come on, guys, get together with us and do something. Okay, please, we really tired of the talk. Action. Thank you, guys. All right. So
Can I answer Melbourne? Let me just answer Melbourne. It is not us, you know. You're making a demand of us when you should be making demand of your leadership to do 2 things. Incorporate us or publicly state that what we say is possible is not. Don't have them whisper it to you. Let them call a press conference, like all the little things they call press conferences for. Just call a press conference that says, we want to dismiss you of that silly idea that C. Allen Johnson has expressed. It's not possible. They call press conference for everything else, even for all kind of stuff on the internet. Why don't they just take the opportunity and just prove me wrong once so I could just go away?
All right, the challenge has been thrown out.
I would detain you on the fake news law that we just did if it's true, right? But it's not fake news.
Okay.
So the fact they haven't locked up C. Allen Johnson yet for circulating fake news means it must be valid.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation with Graham Weatherford and C. Allen Johnson. We're talking alternative solutions today. This is part 2 of thinking outside the budget box. When we come back on the other side of the break, I want to look at some specific examples beyond what's already been said here on the show as to opportunities that are being missed that we can take advantage of now to try to turn our economic situation around. This is GPS. Stay with us.
Located on Carmichael Road, Divine Designs Hair Boutique is a haven for women and men looking for professional beauty services. Our state-of-the-art and contemporary equipment creates a relaxing ambiance for you to enjoy while we cater to you. Need a hairstylist? We cater to all types and textures of hair for care and styling. We even have a barber on duty. Need a nail tech? Our technicians provide a range of nail services, including the latest trends. Unwind in one of our massage chairs while you get your pedicure. With our reasonable rates, friendly staff, and over 20 years of experience, you will be in great hands. Call us at 823-1669 or 698-1025 to schedule your appointment. Want to be pampered? Want to be slayed? Let Divine Designs make your day.
Looking for an extraordinary junior high school with caring, qualified staff and affordable tuition? Then come visit us at Elite School of Excellence, an affiliate of First Step Academy. ABECA-focused and Ministry of Education approved, we foster discipline, integrity, and wisdom while molding our students for success. Call us at 341-8846 or stop by First Step Academy Schools on Fire Trail and Soldy Roads for more information.
At the Shirley Street Plaza, you'll find Le Petit Gourmet, a small cafe that's big on flavor. Handcrafted delights made with love will not only please your palate, but feed your soul. Call us at 394-1251. 8 to 12 minutes is all it takes for a burglar to rob your home or business. Security Systems International provides professional and affordable solutions for both. Call 396-5000 for your customized quote. Gwen's Alterations provides professional services for all your tailoring needs, including face masks to keep you safe and in style. A stitch in time saves 9. So call us today at 393-6227.
Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Pirateswell, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room. Sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Bahamas Orthodontic Center, celebrating 30 years of designing and creating beautiful smiles. And welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm Michelle Malcolm. My show today is Alternative Solutions. We're looking at thinking outside the budget box, part 2. And my guests are C. Alan Johnson and Graham Weatherford. And we're here talking about a different way of thinking of things that can help us to turn our economic situation around. I want to read a couple of comments from Facebook. This one is from Monty. Monty says, what they are calling home porting is just the tip of the iceberg. If we develop a state-of-the-art home port cruise terminal like the LPIA model, we can just about eliminate unemployment in Nassau.
Did they do an environmental impact study on this? Because if you're going to get a few jobs, if you're going to say, I'm going to get 100,000 Bahamians working tomorrow morning, but I have to go and put toxic nuclear waste in all the water in Andros, would that have been worth it? Is there not a better way? Mm-hmm. I want that texter to text back and tell me about the environmental impact study. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that cruise ship was told, don't come to Spanish Wells?
No, but
is it because they're going to dump garbage there? No, you go south of Luther where there's plenty land to dump garbage in a landfill. If that's what's going to happen, no one has told us where this garbage and sewage is going to go.
Just let me say that for Graham, you have to know who the person is that is speaking to. Monty Pratt is a competent, I think, architect, engineer, whatever. I think anything he speak of you'd have to naturally assume that he's talking about all the environmental impact and other things being considered. But there is a group of individuals that before the home porting was taken and given to the foreigner, they made a recommendation, and they had a system called Beyond the Cruise that would have done away with the hotel, with the inclusive hotel type environment, where people would have came to the Bahamas and cruised between the islands. They have the resources, they had everything else. They were waiting on government consent. They were in shock to find out that Celebrity and the rest of them, I can't remember the cruise line, was on the air making announcement utilizing information from their cruise, from their proposal to government. And their concept is called Beyond the Cruise. And so you have the ideas to develop the Bahamas. And let me tell you something. If you understand the experience that Monty Pratt has and other ideas that he's expressed publicly for more than a decade that I've listened to him, you would be surprised at the intellectual capital that the Bahamians have that have returned home that has been underutilized in it. You have individuals, I'm sure Monty Pratt has experienced this, who would come to us and talk to us about what the possibilities are. This is when they're in their state of ignorance, before they move after being elected into the arrogance of their ignorance and believing that they know more than the individuals who have only told them a fraction of the possibilities. In fact, when I speak to so-called potential leaders who are seeking leadership in government, I can't tell them 43 years of experience of engineering and thoughts and processes that you have from the thousands of journals that have been read and information that's been accumulated over these decades. I can only give them a summary where they become expert on that summary. And I'm sure monthly products experience the same type of environment. And so I'm simply saying there is suffice of us that's home and in the diaspora who will be willing to come and develop the country if the Bahamas government leadership would stop this patrimony and mamamony, whatever they want to call it, where they believe they're supposed to clean up the roads and do all these things. Government is supposed to do three things. They're supposed to do legislation or laws as we know it, policies and programs, and then get the hell out of our way as those individuals with the competence and capabilities and the ability to get the financing will actually do it. Government only needs to pass the laws. If you want 30,000 bed and breakfast, give us a right to access the brand. Give us access to the tens of millions of dollars, and the Ministry of Tourism talks about this, Ministry of Tourism has no control of the tourism business in the country. Don't believe Ministry of Tourism do. 4 or 5 agencies, they call them these tourism boards, have control of the tourism product in this country that's controlled by the foreigners or select group of individuals. And there's no design in it for Bahamians to be included in. So they give tens of millions of dollars to do what an individual such as myself can get a bunch of young people for $2 million and have better effect than the millions of dollars we spend on the billboards. Because they will be in the various digital forums advocating and pushing the Bahamas as further expanding the Bahamas brand. And so I think one caller said it's intentional. Our misdirection and redirection is intentional, but they're not doing it to us directly. They're actually getting these so-called leaders that we elect who are impressed because they're able to sit at the high table of finance and take some pictures that appears in the newspaper. So they go and sit with these investors and they go to these international forums with the United States and Russia and Estonia and Singapore and Israel and whatever, not realizing that the individuals who they sit to the table at is backed by millions of dollars of support and expertise. So they get to sit up there and take a picture and send it back here and says, I have went to a forum such and such place. And they bring back nothing of substantial value. Look at our
maybe the reward was just them taking the picture, see, Alan. Maybe that's what we'd be happy about it. We could sit at the table and say,
when we send them away and we send these ambassadors and whatever else. Have you ever seen? I want an ambassador except for 1 or 2 that basically came back with some contracts for their family. Ask yourself, with these ambassadors to the United States and England and all these other people, ask to see their track record. We don't have foreign policy, no. We have foreign vacations that we send people on. There's no policy position we have on financial services, on banking, on technology, on anything else. Do you know major countries around the world have technology ambassadors? Technology ambassadors, we barely have technologically competent people. And so
we have those people, they call phone technicians. They just come and fix the wire.
So okay. Last week's show, we pretty much got bogged down in the blue economy, and that's how we got stuck. We didn't go past the blue economy in the show last year, and I want us to talk about some specific opportunities that are being missed. I know we've been talking pretty much about technology this morning, but what other opportunities are there that are being missed because our leaders just don't seem to appreciate the value of what we have?
Well, let me push you towards a video that I watched this morning. A young lady, Eden Mary Gator, has proposed an aquamarine economy. Now, her explanation in the video this morning, and I guess they can go to EdenMaryGator.com and find wherever this video is on Facebook or YouTube. But it's essentially encompasses doing what I consider a masterful idea of looking at our strengths in the aspect of global warming and climate change, and looking at the strength that our country being majority ocean, majority water, looking at the strength of our green economy, combining it with the orange economy, which is the creative economy, the digital economy, the knowledge economy, and the conceptual economy as one big bundle, because we are one of the few countries in the world that these 6+ economies can actually exist. And then taking the uniqueness of our location as well as the qualities we possess and defining a new economy called the aquamarine economy, for which we then move to exploit it in the hospitality industry. Now, let me tell you why I love the concept of the hospitality industry, because we confuse tourism. This is what the cruise people come off, the 5 million plus people come off the cruise ship do. Tourism is what you do. It's almost like you go to Disney World and you can do a couple of things, buy some trinket. Hospitality is what people experience. That's where you have under the hospitality industry, you have the sports tourism, the medical tourism, the digital tourism, the religious tourism, all of these variations, which utilizes the strengths that we have, where behemoths themselves actually begin to own the capital of this. Use an example. 7 million tourists a day, we say a year, comes to the Bahamas, whether they pass through or not. Let's accept their argument. According to what we should have, if 40% of those are every year, they say 40% of them are new people who have never been here before. So essentially, what it would mean is that we should have somewhere a database that's worth billions of dollars with the contacts for these individuals, because based on international law and everything else, we should know their name, their number, their contacts, their email, whatever it is of these tourists. Mind you, I have reason to believe that this billion-dollar treasure trove is not owned by or does not exist. It's not owned by government or does not exist. But let's pretend that this $7 billion exists. This $7 million tourists exists every single year. So 40% of them being new. If Michelle Malcolm wants to now enter into the bed and breakfast, that means I must find 250 of them, times that by 5, to give her 5 years of occupancy. 750. Let's round it up to 1,000 people, just they don't spend a week. So out of that 7 million people a year, I should be able to find 1,000 individuals who is willing to prepay for 1 week in the Bahamas, staying in a 3 or 4 or 5-star accommodation to be built by Michelle Malcolm. Those 1,000 individuals would now basically would only need about, she only building a 5-plex. I can give her the $1 million in advance. Even when they come, they'll still pay an energy fee like all the other hotels and everything else. So in essence, by actually surrendering that database to a sovereign wealth fund who will own and control it for exploitation of behemoths, Michelle Malcolm can build a bed and breakfast to accommodate these advanced purchases, right, for vacation in the Bahamas. And she will own it or co-own it with the sovereign wealth fund. And we will not cost us a dime because it's all paid for in advance. All the Atlantis and the Goldwind and everything else, they raised the hundreds of millions of dollars in advance before the people come. Why can't we do the same thing, utilizing multi-billion-dollar brand we have?
Let's hear from Graham.
That's pretty deep, eh? Basically, what I just heard is C. Allen saying, look, I'm going to build a place for you to stay that's better than the biggest hotel or cruise ship.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to give you the total immersion, the Bahamian people-to-people experience. You're going to have what you're looking for. You're going to be able to take all the excursions. It's going to all be right there for you. I need you to see this, buy into this, and you say, it's kind of like timeshare. I'm going to buy my 2 weeks next year in the Bahamas and for the next 10 years, and I'm going to pay you in advance. And you're right next door to 400 million people in the U.S. and Canada, but you can only brag about 7 million. You are a failed state. You have failed. You should have gotten at least 20, I would have said 20% of those people here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could swim here. It's so close. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
20-some minutes in a jet. So he's telling you, and Michelle, you know, it's good to talk about that because I like how it sounds, but let me show you it even more simple. The government was giving away $5,000, right?
Right.
For the self-help start or whatever. They always change the name of it. You could have taken that $5,000, closed off your hallway in your 4-bedroom house or 3-bedroom house, right? And you could have knocked the door in for less than $5,000, believe me. And you could have rented that space in your house in Yellow Elder or wherever it is, Village Road, Cable Beach, for $100 a night. Mm-hmm. Because that's what the tourists, a lot of people want to spend. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's $700 a week.
Mm-hmm.
How many people would you need next year to come and stay with you? 7 million or 52?
Hmm.
So Cialan is saying, put it out to bid. You say, look, it's $100 a night. I got a place. I need 52 people out of 400 million.
Right.
Now you start getting thousands of people bidding for your room because it's maybe got a better experience, looks nicer, whatever you've done. You painted it pink. Now you put your price up. Okay, it's 120 a night, 140. Hotels do this on season, right? There's different rates. And so you play the game. We should be teaching this at our Ministry of Tourism, at our BTVI, and in high school. Tourism's not a shameful hobby or project. It's trillions of dollars a year, and we need to expand that.
Right.
Not be a one-trick pony.
Right.
So if I get 52 people next year at $700 a week, isn't that better than going to make a bed for $2.44 in someone else's tourism product? And that's breaking it right down to the individual level.
No, but Michelle, what I'm speaking more to about creating a quality brand in the Bahamas. So when you have a brand where you would normally, and this is something that I propped to tourism for the last 8 years. Okay, and guess what? The Bahamas government has actually passed passed 3 laws that makes this quite possible now. They passed the law because individuals like me have advocated for it. They just don't know how to execute it. That's simply plain and simple. It sounds good for the time, and they want political points. But we need 20,000 rooms on Grand Bahama. It is my ambition over the next couple of weeks to find those 20,000 families on New Providence who are willing to relocate to Grand Bahama for this brand. And I'm talking about 4-star, 3- and 4-star rooms, quality rooms. Because if I give Michelle $1 million to build 3 rooms, doesn't it make sense that Michelle will also build within that 2,000 or 3,000 square foot house? Because the hotel room she's speaking of is only 500 square feet or so of each. In the luxury brand, you may be talking about 600 square feet. And so in essence, even if you were to bill at $300 a square foot for top luxury brand furnished, you're still talking about less than $1 million, including your actual home. And so what it does, though, it changes the whole concept of ownership. And again, what it does is at the same time, you would set in place a quality bureau that would actually make sure that the B&B and VRBOs is vacation rentals by owner. It's just one of the largest things that's challenged B&Bs as we know it. And so there's different variations of the same subject that we keep calling them one and the same as B&B. But clearly we could take 20,000 families that currently lives right now in Baines and Grandstand and Angliston and all these other individuals who don't have the opportunity to live on another out island with an actual tourism strategy that actually looks to build out utilizing the same aquamarine economy that Ms. Eden Mary Gator spoke of. These are not pie in the sky. These are the actual brands that's already owned by the Bahamas. The problem is that you have some small group of individuals called the oligarchs and plutocrats and interested party that don't want you to be able to do this. Why? This is a power struggle. This is going to move a little bit over to political. Michelle, I want you to imagine that if in the next 2 to 3 years you were to begin an aggressive build out and make Grand Bahama that brand, because Grand Bahama is one of the few places in the Bahamas that you could experience the 6 economic models: the green, the blue, the orange, the digital, the knowledge, and the conceptual, the circular economies, and others. One of the few places that actually have the infrastructure to support it. But I want you to imagine this, Michelle. What would happen if 20,000 families was to leave New Providence? Remind you now, you got over 300,000 people there. 20,000 families was to leave New Providence and come to Grand Bahama. There's infrastructure prepared and this industry is built. You may not realize it, Michelle, but 20,000 families is about 30,000 voters. That means that 10 seats on New Providence will be vacated. What happens now is the economic control, the crabs in the cage, they no longer have that economic cage around them. And so New Providence will then have about 12 seats or 14 seats. But the power base will move away to Grand Bahama, where they don't have control of the ports. They don't have control of the harbor. They don't have control of the food stores. They don't have control of the hotels. They don't have control of the transportation. And so essentially what you will have is Bahamian ownership by developing the other old islands. The same beyond the cruise concept, where you have
who is standing in the way? Who is standing in the way of these types of ideas?
We are, because when individuals like me and Monty Pratt and Gilbert Morris and others that brings them forward, what you have is the surrogates who will then go to the crowd and says, don't, because this is bigger than I could conceive, don't believe them. Stick with what we know. We have an idiot savant class. Let's stick with what we know, because these guys them want you to be millionaires and you're not going to be able to handle all that money for whatever else. So essentially what happens is it does is that you have a conditioning of a people, what is called our tribalism. You know what they say? Our tribe has been fighting for hundreds of years. We don't remember what it's fighting about, and it was because one day, 100 years ago, somebody from the other tribe stole a goat from my great-great-great-grandfather, and we've been at war ever since. And so we don't want to have anything to do with the other tribes. This is why you can always hear the FNM and the PLP, the blame game. You never hear about ideas and whatever else coming forth. And so it is incumbent upon us now, for those who've been aware, and I'm hoping COVID, the pain of COVID, because the pain from COVID hasn't arrived yet, you know. When Dr. Hubert Minnis, the sole competent authority, releases us on August 23rd, when the 40 to 50,000 individuals who have not been to work, who are considered at work right now because they have not been fired, is let go, and the banks for those thousands of homes begins to ask you, where's my money for the last 18 months that you haven't been paid, and those landlords begins to make a demand. And those cars, you understand, when you go to register your car and the government says to you, I know we told you didn't have to register, but you know you still owe us for 2020 and 2021. When the
bank comes for the car.
So when all these things begin to cascade on, this is why they want to call it the election.
See how it goes up? It's better than that. When the light bill goes up because you're seeing gas at $5 now. When the food prices go up another 8 to 12%, and the VAT on top of that, it's about 30%. The house is about to crash, but it doesn't have to.
No, but I'm saying, right, I'm hoping the people then begin to say, what can be done? When they begin to look at the political class, who will say to you, we have a plan, and you go and you look at their website and it's not a plan. It's another list of ideas. There's no implementable strategies, and none of their candidates can tell you what is in the plan. They tell you, go to the website. I remember for almost 8 years, they mocked the DNA when they used to say, go read the website. Now you have other political parties saying the same thing. Go check our website out. Maybe the DNA was advanced at the time to say, go read our book of plans from the DNA. And so what I'm simply saying is we have to begin to demand.
Melvin is asking the question. What are you doing now to help make this change? That's Melvin's question.
What I'm saying to you is look for me on social media, because what I'm doing, I'm inviting those individuals that have a desire to leave the cage of economic apartheid called New Providence and come into Grand Bahama, other places, to join me as an advocate, and for me to work with you in setting up your plan for ownership that would allow your family to be debt-free in 7 years and own $1 million business. I'm looking for the next 20 to 30,000 individuals who are seeking to be millionaires, utilizing their resources, utilizing the methodology that Ms. Eden Mary Gators began to proper. And I'm simply saying is that these are not things, these are what is called the knowledge economy and the conceptual economy. The conceptual economy is the ability to create that which is yet to exist, be able to use imagination to define the future.
We have a call on the line. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, thanks for having me again, Michelle. My question was directed to Seattle. I'm curious to know if he thinks, if you think by yourself you'll be able to make some kind of significant change, because as we discussed earlier, it's because of the ancient mindset of the leadership and the baton being passed in two of the basically the same parties, that this has been, concurrent for so long. I'm wondering, see, because you raised some issues, and A lot of things that you mentioned, I've heard also Lincoln Bain mention as well. But the thing about it is doing it on your own. How significant is the impact you think you could make alone? Because there's a lot of work to be done. That's number one. Number two, right now, I really believe, let me get this part out. I really believe that it's going to take the younger generation to move forward when it comes down to the current ideas that we need to be implemented. You know what I mean? Because for too long, the old guys, they've been just running this place into a deeper hole, as we all know. Okay, we were just talking earlier while listening to your show about the VAT concerns, the VAT money that's been spent, when really and truly, we really don't have any idea where the money has gone. And let's just put it out there and be real about it. It doesn't matter anything with farmersgov.org has to say. We really don't know where the money has gone. And so when it comes around to a number of things that need to be addressed, when it comes to moving forward and trying to at least catch up halfway with the rest of the world, you know, it takes a lot more. Websites are there. Facebook is a website. So if you say advocate on Facebook, that is a website. So the most impact you can make in getting the word out there would definitely be through the internet. That's a big step. But the thing about it is, my point to you is, Alan, that, you know, unless you have some kind of backup, some kind of theme, then there's only so far you're going to be able to go. I'm just being realistic here. Okay? Now, like I mentioned before, you said a number of things that come on the Southwest Fund and this and that, and I'm glad Graham is there too, because one of our biggest bills, if not our biggest bill, is power. Okay? We already know how to get.
But don't hang up. Let me ask you a question for you. Am I alone? I've never been alone. I am the sum of all those that are around me. I'm a part of a team. In the same way you see Microsoft, you see Bill Gates, and you see Elon Musk, and you see Michael Dell. Believe me, there are hundreds if not thousands of individuals behind me. I'm just expressing the collective intelligence of all of us. And everything that I've expressed to you requires no political movement. It requires simply a demand by individuals on their leadership. You know, I heard you mention Lincoln Bain and the Coalition of Independence. For me, it's a very dangerous group, and I could come back on another show and explain it to you. Because what I have a problem is not just with them, but all the political parties are seeking. They take farmed ideas with no intellectual comprehension of what it is they want. And this is because of the dumbing down of the beam, and people, they're able to make some statements that cannot be quantified or qualified. And they say the same thing that the PLP and the DNA saying. Go check our website and watch 20 minutes of videos, so you could begin to see billion-dollar development in this country. These are dangerous precedents where they require, they'll just say to you, give me the power and I will do for you what you could do for yourself. Everything that the Coalition of Independence and the DNA and the PLP said could be achieved with one bill that could be done today, not giving everybody no crown land. Demand that a sovereign wealth fund be established at the next sitting of House of Parliament that take possession of all assets in the Bahamas, known and unknown, seen and unseen, tangible and intangible, and have it surrendered to a sovereign wealth fund, and you will have the Bahamian debt go away in less than 1 year, and you will see an economic development and resurgence in the Bahamas that will blow you away. But it requires not just me demanding, not you facing fantasies of these come by here new political formations that's been formed. None of them can give you a single implementable strategy for the development of the countries. They can give you a book of ideas. I feel, I believe, I hope, and I wish I would be able to do these things. But when you say to them, bring me the know-how, bring me exactly what you can execute, it cannot be done. But I'm simply saying to you, you ask what could be done? I ask you to join us, not me. Join those of us who have helped develop these ideas and these thoughts, and make a demand of our government to bring about the change we have. And the first step is not give me crown land where I have no money to build and develop, but I say surrender the authority of all assets, known and unknown, seen and unseen, tangible and intangible, to the Bahamian people as a collective. and we will hire a sovereign asset management to build the hotels. You see the Crown Land, Michelle, let me go back to the Crown Land we have where the people knock down the gate. Acquire it. Let's build our own buildings, our own building there, because the Bahamas is a multi-billion-dollar brand. So I ask you, reach out to me and let's find those 20,000 individuals. I got to be 20,000 families among the 400,000 of us that actually believe by the demand they can have what they deserve, not what has been given to them.
See, Alan, you know, think about this one thing.
Go ahead.
Think about this one thing, guys. I think it was $8 million. You could correct me. We just sold the whole southern tip of Eleuthera for $8 million. Now, unless you have been there, and 99% of Bahamians have never been to Lighthouse Beach. But if you were to take anybody from Freeport or the inner city of New Providence, put them on Lighthouse Beach for the day with a private butler serving them the food, the champagne, and whatever, they would tell you could never sell this. And what Seattle is simply saying is...
Grant, you don't have to go to extraordinary. Grant, you don't have to go to extraordinary.
Let him finish the thought, Allen. Let him finish the thought.
Like Seattle is saying, and we all have said, why didn't we acquire that? It was $8 million. We could have put a dock on the leeward side, and we could have invited...
I want to hear what the other caller says first. I'm saying.
Okay, well, I want to speak when he's finished and you're finished.
No, I'm saying let him finish, then we can talk.
Yeah.
No, I have enough patience to hear Grandma. Grandma's making such interesting points.
Let me finish this really quick, caller. If you go to Grand Turks, right? Grand Turk Island. I snuck in there on a cruise ship in 2008 to see what they were doing. They did not sell the whole port. They said to Carnival, look, we're going to let you invest $40 million. You're going to fix this whole thing. You're going to put a dock. All cruise ships will be able to use this dock to come to this beach, this section of our island. We're not going to charge you any tax. Let's just use departure tax in our case until we get you get your $40 million back. But we own this land. So basically they got negotiated like a boss and they got the money to develop the whole area, but it stayed with the people. Now, if I go to Turks and Caicos, right, and go to Margaritaville and their whole fancy redeveloped area, and it should have been developed how we want it, not how they want it, right? They need the beach. The boat can't make $1 unless it has our beach. And we're too stupid. We're not negotiating like a boss. We could have done 10 different ways on South Eleuthera, and we could have told them your garbage is going to stay on your boat and your sewage water, and you're going to dump that when you go back to Florida. Don't let me catch you dumping in our waters. But no, we got some people doing very well, I assume, and they don't care about you, the local or the environment. That's what it is.
That's correct.
Let me just say, I will respect you.
Real quick.
Go ahead, caller.
All right, thank you, because see, Alan, I know he's an opinionated guy. He has a lot of info, but let me just get this in real quick. What I'm saying to you is, and it's very simple and straightforward, okay? Because I've heard people may think or listen to Lincoln say, "Oh, his ideas are grandiose and they're far-fetched." The same thing can be said of yourself, because basically you've been educating the Bahamians about the sovereign fund and our resources for a long time now.
No, but yes, pause right there. Here's the deal.
So yeah,
Hold on, Alan. Let him finish his thought.
Some patience.
Don't hang up.
Where you're going, I'm going to do the same for me. Okay, what I'm saying is very, very simple. Okay, both of your ideas sound grandiose. Okay, and for an uneducated Bahamian, the average one, you know, no one has ever exposed those kind of truths ever before. Okay, so people, let's just say everybody born in the late 70s and before, that are used to only the PLP and the FNM, they're not going to believe something like that. They're not even used or don't even know anything about how the world works and how it's moving so fast ahead and how far behind we are. So therefore, they're not going to take that seriously. Okay, now what I'm saying to you is, one night, where the backup you mentioned, we're talking about Bahamians, a group of Bahamians, trying to move this country forward through educated ideas and how we're going to come out of this hole that we're so deep in right now. And it's by design. It obviously is economic slavery. Okay, keeping people in the dark, keeping them in Duntsville, We couldn't even trade on the worldwide market, as you well know, for a long time. Okay? So therefore, it's intentional. And one behaving man, is going to need some serious backup, man. You understand? Now, the same ideas that you have, just about, what you've been singing and listening to intently over the course of many shows, Lincoln Bain basically has the same ideas. And he has a crew of very, very educated folks.
Okay.
So, I'll let you continue.
Thank you for calling, caller.
I didn't know, because I didn't want him to hang up. I want him to understand very easily. Here's a challenge I put to you and I put to Lincoln Bain and others. I'm willing to wager $100,000 that the Coalition of Independents can't find a single person to explain one of the ideas that they have that could be executed. I'm willing to say this right now, and I will accept the same challenge from me, that you challenge me with your dollar against my 1,000, right? Bring at least 1,000 though. So, and I can prove to you how it could be done, not verbiage. I understand everything that Lincoln Bain them has said. I'm not excited by showmanship. Okay, I see that at the circus all the time. I am excited about substantive type environment by which you could prove what you say you can do. Okay, so the problem is we are in a crisis, and these are what they call soldier crab leadership that I see pop up every 5 years. And what soldier crabs do, they don't build nothing. They look for empty shells to occupy. Soda caps, cans, empty shells, or whatever, they try to take the place. See, this is the problem we have. We are impressed by linguistic gymnastic and lyrical contortionism, okay, because they impress you with their wordage. But when they're challenged, they can't prove it. I accept challenges from anybody, anywhere, any leadership or any organization, okay? The problem is when these people show up, they begin to distract the people from the real issues because they take ideas they've heard in the public domain for years and have no rudimentary understanding of what they profess to say they will do, and then it sounds good. I'm saying test me, test Lincoln, test Komalafi, test Brave Davis, test whatever. This is the problem. We've been taking their word for it. And once we put them in place, we go back into our corners and say, see, I told you he would fail. Everything I'm proposing to you requires nothing except for leadership to do as we demand. And I keep saying to you, it's not me. This is what I've done. After coming home, I sought first to understand. Now I'm seeking to be understood. And so essentially, I didn't come in and say, I knew. I understand the nuances and the environment. I am a data person. Anybody knows me, I'm not subject to my opinion. I've been wrong once. That's the time I thought I was wrong when I was really right. And so essentially what I'm saying to you, I use data. This is not me speaking. When I give you the numbers of the budget, when I give you the projected date, my accuracy based on others has been 97% correct. And Michelle Malcolm, you and I have about 98.2% on every prediction we've made on this radio station and other radio stations. Because it's not me. It is us using data that IBM, that Xerox, that Dell, that all the major companies in the world use. If these are successful companies, why aren't we using the same methodologies that they are using? And that's what I do. I've been doing data for years.
Alan, pause. We have to take a break. If I don't control you, you'll talk through the whole 2 hours. And I know it's a talk show, but we still have to follow structure. So let's take this break. This is the final break of the show. And then when we come back, because, y'all going to open up this can of worm now, can of worms talking about the coalition and all the coalition people on here saying y'all talking foolishness.
Then take my offer and let's have a debate. Prove me wrong.
Let's take this break. Let's take this break. And then we're going to talk about it on the other side. So stay with us. This is GPS.
Glory 93.9 FM. We're chasing after God's glory.
Stop letting these other guys run you hot while looking for ice. No need to check the food store, the gas station, conveniently located around Nassau. Cooler Ice. So for just $3 you can get a bag of ice whenever you want, or refill your 5-gallon bottle for the same $3. The ice machine is closer than you know. Cooler Ice. With locations at Arawak Key, Potters Key Dock, Montague Boat Ramp, Superwash locations at Prince Charles, Carmichael Road, Soldier Road, Charles Saunders Highway, and 3 new locations, Superwash Nassau Street, Wolf Road, and Gibbs Corner. Cooler Ice Bahamas. Fresh and ready whenever you are.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy, with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. And by BMP Liquidators. High-quality furniture and home goods at very reasonable prices. Boy, look here. Y'all gonna open up this can of worms. And these people are...
At least you know they're listening.
They going nuts. Now, see, Alan, you sort of off camera, so I hope I'm going to put you in the stream anyway, but you got to. So let me go to a couple of these comments, and y'all don't interrupt. Just listen, because it's plenty. Y'all going to open up this can of worms, and now these people are up in arms. Okay, I'll read a couple of them. Tara, there problem is they want to disregard Lincoln, those ideas, but don't even have the amount support like evolution. Go sit small.
Pause.
No, I can't pause because you can talk for the last 10 minutes and we only got 10 minutes left in the show. Sam says, you are on point, C. Allen. Melvern says, but what are you doing? Just talking, laugh out loud. Tara again says, you and Graham sound like a broken record. Christoph says, like KCX, I can't understand him. Sam says, Lincoln don't have any plans. He takes others' ideas and presents them as his own. Lincoln is a pirate that needs to be flushed down the toilet. Boy, y'all ain't easy today. Williams, y'all go open up this can of worms. Williams says, well, if then join in with Mr. Lincoln and help the Bahamian people stop complaining. Terry, ignorance is our greatest problem was meant man is a danger to himself. Mass psychology and propaganda is a tool that politicians use. One or two more. Let's see. Christoph says you can't get mad at a black man that says the same thing you said but gets more following and recognition. And Veronica says, why don't the good gentleman put himself forward to lead in some way? Why pull someone down who was never given an opportunity to prove their leadership? Get together and save the country, man. Mr. Bain never said that he's in a competition for leadership. So what all this barking about? Boy, I can't even get to all of these.
Very easily. Lincoln Bain knows me. In fact, if you go back to the original videos that they took down of their website, Coalition of Independence and Bahamas Evolution, the person you hear explaining everything that the coalition is built on, that voice is mine. Why don't you go watch the video on Beyond the Headline? Watch the original video for which the Human Evolution launched on. Listen to me. I have nothing against Lincoln personally. I have a concern when you try to lead people on fantasies, okay? See, what I'm saying is this. The best thing for the Coalition of Independent supporters to do is do what the DNA supporters do. Remain silent. If anybody want to contest this, I say to the DNA, I say to Lincoln Bain, I say to the PLP, your ideas are unworkable and nothing more than fantasy and linguistic contortionism. And I don't want your supporters to dispute it. I want you to come and dispute it. Man to man, mono y mono. Because if you're seeking to lead the country, I'm the lowest limb on the tree of the global people that you have to negotiate and deal with. Okay,
we have a caller.
That would be a good show.
We have a caller. Hold on, Cialan.
I just want him to come on GPS and do it.
Let me get the caller in. We only got 8 minutes left. Caller, you got to make it quick.
Cialan, you raise a good point. You raise a good point. I'm just trying to be as fair across the board as I can, but I'll make this short and sweet. Okay. We need more assistance from intellectuals than we need disunity, Now, the thing about it is, Lincoln's a sharp guy. Cassius Stewart is a sharp guy. I know that for certainty. I know both of them very well, actually. Okay? See, Alan, you're an intelligent fellow yourself, and you have a lot of experience. Based on what you've been saying, you have a lot of ideas that would help our nation. The thing about it is, what really gets me, what really irks me, is that everybody who has all these ideas, who has the IQ off the charts, can't seem to put their minds together and actually do something. All this is a bunch of talk, when it really boils down to it. But with great power comes great responsibility. Therefore, instead of all of us beating up our gums, why don't we get together and actually do something significant? Okay, you ever thought about that? There's a lot of bashing going on, and it seems that we're in love with our own voice. So we want everybody to take notice of our intellectual prowess. But you know what? It's not all about that. Instead of us bashing one another, obviously bashing one another, let's try to come together. I'm not saying that you should join the coalition or join BDM, but I mean, come on, man. For the third of the show, you've been bashing Lincoln.
I said his ideas are called fantasies. Cassius Stewart.
I tell you what. Not everybody in this country is a couple fries short of happy meals. Okay, you have some brains, some intellectuals, in fact, even more intelligent than yourself.
No, I disagree.
They have not come out. They have not come out. They have not come out and bash Lincoln's ideas.
No,
Okay.
I said to you, I didn't bash anything. I said to you, the fantasies are unexpected. Look, but then
Caller,
listen.
why have they not come out at all?
Let's have a
My
conversation.
concern. Why are they
Name
hiding?
one idea that Lincoln is proper that's executable.
That's true, Graham.
Why are they hiding like
I know
cowards?
a few of those minds. I know a few of those minds that agree with Lincoln's numbers, because it's all about the number.
Well, if they agree with that number, they would agree.
Listen to me, sir. Hold on, Graham, please. Hold a second, sir. Sir, let me talk to Cassius Stewart, right? I think Cassius Stewart is a brilliant mind, and his concept of being first in everything is wonderful principles for which we can build on. I admit that. Some of the things that the DNA song sings can actually be built on. Okay, the fact that it is not explained to the point that catches on is because of the noise makers, like the Coalition of Independence and some of these other parties that drown them out. You know why? Because we have become a society of pseudo-intellectualism. We don't want to test ideas. I say to you, my ideas are willing to be tested. Cassius Stewart ideas, I've spoken to him. He's willing to have his ideas tested. I'm simply saying to you, if you want to lead a country, if you want to lead me and my tribe, children who you'll be making decisions for, how dare you tell me I have no right to question you? So I'm questioning the PLP.
I'm not saying that at all,
Okay, guys.
What I'm saying is,
I'm not bashing him.
We have 4 minutes left in this show, and I don't want to spend the last 4 minutes talking about what problems you do or do not have with Lincoln Bean.
Lincoln Bean and Cassius Stewart.
That's not what we're supposed to be talking about today.
Michelle, I just want to raise a point, but
I got you.
I'm going.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. We only got 4 minutes left, Allen. So focus.
No, focus. Michelle, I want them to know that GPS is open for these type of debates. I invite Lincoln Bean, Cassius Stewart, Kamalafi, Kevin King, and all of them. I am considered the lowest limb on an intellectual fruit. If you can't get over me, you're not ready for the big table of finance.
What about the two big parties? Do you invite them to a debate?
No, absolutely. They lead on the
What is going on now? And I really, quite frankly, don't know
Wasting
anyway.
my time because it's none of the people that really need to be debating.
Listen. That's another show. That's another show. All right.
Michelle, let me say something really profound.
Go ahead.
Everybody calls and says...
this could be your final thought.
Ooh, okay. So, C. Allen, everybody says, why don't you follow C. Allen? Why don't you follow Lincoln Bain? Why don't you pick a yellow or red party, join, and change it from within?
Mm-hmm.
You've not understood the sad reality that you're not independent. You swear to a Queen of England to get in the house. That's the first thing you got to stop. I could wrap up with this one today.
Mm-hmm.
All the ideas I could ever sit here with and tell you and solutions, whether they're for the individual or for the nation at large, I'm going to do it. I have energy security. I have the Airbnb. I'm going to now, with C. Allen and some other people, start a smart community on property that I own in Abaco.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to spill over into a smart city. And my model exists in the country already. It's called the OTEC base in Andros. And if you were to simply duplicate that base with ownership by Bahamians to every settlement in this country, you'd have a little something because you'd have an airport, you'd have a helicopter pad, you'd have a hospital, you'd have all the things needed in a city. They've built a city and it's one story. But I'm going to wrap up with this, C. Allen. How can I follow any of you when I know where I'm going?
And you don't.
I know exactly where I'm going.
Michelle, just let me simply say, I invite my ideas and my thoughts to be tested by those in governance, those previously in governance, and those seeking governance. And I'm simply saying is that I have a right to critique anyone who offered himself for leadership, and I am a person in the leadership compound that is subject to criticism and critique. But I don't want you to come with what you think and what you believe, what you feel, what you hope for, what you pray for, and what you was told. I want you to come at me with what you know. And I want people who seek to represent me to also come to what you know. Of the PLP and the FNM, I want to be able to question them. We must question their books of ideas. Who will implement it? How it's going to be done? Ideas are not strategies, nor are they plans. And so what we have to do is, if we want more, we have to demand more. We are in the greatest shift in world history. And if we do the same thing we have been doing for the last 50 years, we'll get exactly what we've been getting for the last 100 years. If you want a new Bahamas, you must abandon the old and embrace the new. And I'm simply saying, I am but one of many that represents the collective intelligence of behemoths. But if you keep going back for what you're familiar with, for the sound bites and for the contortionism, linguistic contortionism, don't be surprised. In 5 years, I'm here having the same conversation with you. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here today. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. It's 1 o'clock already. Time is gone. So that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much to both of you. Now, tomorrow, you know what that means. It's Friday. TGIF. Open line. The week that was. Giving you an opportunity to get off your chest whatever is on your mind. So we want to hear from you tomorrow. Let's talk about all of the happenings in the Bahamas this past week. And as always, we're going to have some fun. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good day, everybody.